Hello everyone and welcome back along to the channel. Now if you're a regular around here, you'll know that about a week ago I named my predicted All Black squad for the up and coming series against the Lions. Now just this morning the All Blacks announced the actual team for the Lions series, and of course that test match in Samoa as well. Now today we're going to have a bit of a look through what I got wrong, what I got right, and the differences between our two squads. Obviously, if you tuned into my predictions video, you'd know that I carved a lot of players out because they are leaving after this year's season. Now obviously for the All Blacks themselves, that isn't really something they're going to do. So for the likes of Cruden, Carvalho, etc., we know that those guys are going to be in there. But if it was me, I'd be making those calls. You can guarantee it. So let's not muck around. Let's have a look quickly at the squad that the All Blacks have named for the up and coming Lions series. So it all starts off as always. We always begin in the front row, and I started off with the props, so we're going to be doing the same for the actual All Black squad as well. So for my squad, I picked 5 names for props. The All Blacks themselves, they have picked up 5 names as well. Wow, it's amazing. So the All Blacks have gone with Crockett, Faumuina, Franks, Moody, which I've also gone with Crockett, Faumuina, Franks and Moody. But one difference, I went with Nepo Laulala. The All Blacks went with Ofa Tuangafasi, which is a bit of a surprise for me because I think when it comes to scrum time, the Blues really haven't been anywhere near a dominant scrum at all. They got pretty smashed by the Lions, albeit the Blues won, but Tuangafasi and his fellow forwards didn't have a dominant night whatsoever. They got outplayed big time by the Lions in that department. So with that, and given the All Blacks would have watched that match, they would have been a bit of a decisive factor in picking Tuangafasi. I'm kind of surprised they've gone that way, but I would have gone a bit with Laulala. Again, hasn't been a hugely dominant scrum, the Chiefs, but still a young man, both are young men to be fair, and I guess you got to pick one of the two. I had a feeling the All Blacks would go with Tuangafasi, but they really do seem to like certain players. Laulala was really their go-to like 4th or 5th prop. Now it's kind of changed to Tuangafasi. Laulala really has to do something to get himself back into that fold. So unfortunately we got one wrong already in the props, but I'm pretty happy with the other 4 names. I'm not a huge fan of Wyatt Crockett, but he's been around a long time and he's been doing the job for quite a long time, albeit not going to ever be a big dominant factor when it comes to scrum time. But as a Crusader player, he's always got that backing, doesn't he? And it's no surprise to see him there at all. Right, next up to them, we'll have a look at the hookers. So 3 names by myself, and we also have 3 names by the All Blacks. Dane Coles, Cody Taylor, Nathan Harris. Bang, bang, bang. How's your mother? That's the 3 I've got as well. Easy, pretty predictable. Calls for the likes of James Parsons. I do agree, Liam Coltman, a bit unlucky, but he's just not quite at the level those 3 are for the All Blacks as well. And of course it's established names, which you got to remember, the All Blacks are going to stick always with the established names unless they have to go outside that box, which is why the back line is a bit of a surprise later on. But we'll get to that in just a second. We'll make our way through the rest of the forwards. So the All Blacks, second rowers, they've gone with 4 names. They've gone with Barrett, Retallick, Romano and Whitelock, which is exactly the same as I've got there. Whitelock, Retallick, Barrett and Romano. So no big surprises there whatsoever. No room for Tuipulotu or the likes of him, Dominic Bird, all those players. Those 4 have been pretty much the go-tos, and after the end of season tour that Scott Barrett had, he is the number 4 really on that list, and you can't complain about what Barrett did in that overseas tour. So that was easy, nailed that one as well. Still only got 1 wrong, which is good, and we picked all the squad numbers perfectly. Now this is one that might get a little bit interesting. Back row, loose forwards, flankers, call them what you like. The All Blacks have gone with 3, 4, 5 names for the back rows. I have gone with 6. So there's the first difference straight away. I have 1 extra forward, which is a bit of a surprise. So the 5 that the All Blacks have picked up, Sam Cane, Jerome Kiner, Kieran Reid, Ardie Savea and Liam Squire. Now I had 6 names here of course, so I'm always going to be 1 too many, but the 1 too many I'm kind of really surprised about, but the other 5 are the same as what I have as well. So Reed, Kane, Kino, Savia and Squire, I had them already. A lot of people didn't think that Squire deserved to be there. A lot of other names thrown about as a backup on the blind side. But what's kind of surprising is the fact that they haven't gone with Todd at all. But when you look at this team and the squad and the matches they're playing, this really is a match day 23 with just a couple of backups in case. So a lot of you will write what you said in the comments that they're not going to pick 3 specialist open side flankers, which is a fair enough comment because really you're only picking a first starter and a bencher. Very rarely you'll need a third specialist guy. If anything, you'll pick a guy that can play and cover those positions outside of them as well. So you notice they've gone with only Sam Cane and Adi Savia, which will be your 7 and bench player in the test matches. You also know you got Kieran Reid, who is the number 8 out and out, Kino at the 6, and Squire, who can play 6 or 8 if he's needed to. Adi Savia can jump on to number 8 as well if required, and the support and backup is there for Kino, who's not long back from injury, but he looks pretty fit anyway. I'd imagine there would be too much problems with Jerome Kino. But other than that, one too many in the squad. I guess that's another wrong answer there. But otherwise, pretty happy to get, you know, the 5 that are in the squad in my squad as well. And also, just quickly while we're on the back rowers, not really too surprised that there's no Luatua. He was amazing against the Lions, but still, he was really part of my initial scrap heap just because he's going overseas. And I'm on song with that one as well. No Luatua, no Dixon either. Liam Squire. It was really only one spot that those guys were all fighting over. Luatua unlucky. If he was staying in New Zealand, I would have put him in my squad. But as part of that sort of thing I did, cutting all those players moving away, he is one that did not make the cut. Okay, so next up, we are looking at the scrum halves. First to the back line as well. The All Blacks have gone with 3. I also went with 3, but here's where the differences start to come in. Smith and Perenara, easy pickings. And really, if I was going to be serious on what I thought the All Blacks would pick, I would have gone with Tuera Karabalo. But obviously, this is my team. I would want that third backup scrum half to be someone who I'll be using next season. That is why I've gone with Pulu. I think he is the best out of what is coming up next. A lot of talk about the likes of a Mitchell Drummond and the likes of him, but no, Pulu is far more past those guys, I think, in terms of in the rankings of scrum halves. But they have, in fact, the All Blacks gone with Tuera Karabalo in their team, despite the fact he is away. But I think Pulu's not far away. Next year, maybe, will be his time. We'll end the year tour as well. So we got that one a little bit off, but not surprising whatsoever. Along with fly halves, I only picked 2, Bowden Barrett and Lima Sopawanga. The All Blacks have gone for 3. They have also picked up Aaron Cruden. No surprise there at all. I expected Cruden to get picked, but if it was me, I would have just gone for 2 and then picked up Mackenzie as a third choice backup come, you know, ultimate disaster. End of a match, both fly halves have gone down. Get Cruden on the phone, but you can finish it off, Damien. No problem. That's not what they've gone with. I'm not surprised again. Aaron Cruden was always going to be in that team till he jumps on the plane and goes overseas. So no real surprise there at the fly half position. Centres. Now this is the one that surprised me the most. Easily surprised me the most. The usual names are there. So what I picked was Crotty, Fekitoa, Williams and Anton Leonard-Brown. The All Blacks have gone fairly similar. I picked 4, they picked 4 as well, which is good to see. But Crotty the same, Sonny Bill Williams and Leonard-Brown the same. But bizarrely, I think this is really bizarre as well. Instead of going with Fekitoa, who I don't think has been in bad form this season, they have gone with Nangi Laumape, which I'm kind of surprised about. I know the comments, you guys go nuts. Laumape and Aso, informed best players around. Yes, I realise that, but what you guys have to realise is that these guys are completely unproven at international level. Is a Lions tour once every 12 years, remember? Is this the time to just go, is this guy up to international level? Nah, let's throw him out and find out. End of year tour, even, I mean, rugby championship games, that is a lot better place to test these guys out. In a Lions tour, it's not really my pick of where to test the guy out. I know, sure, he's been amazing. He could be brilliant. He could be the future of the All Blacks centre positions. But now is not the time to debut a guy. So I'm really surprised they've gone for Laumape. congratulations to him. It's thoroughly deserved, no question about that. But the pressure is firmly on his shoulders to perform, and he must perform now, or else it could be one and done. That's your dash. He could be gone if a bad performance comes through and he can't prove at international level to be good enough. The fact that they picked Laumape and not Aso is a bit surprising, and as has been mentioned before, the All Blacks have gone with 3 inside centres and only 1 outside centre. So the possibilities of Laumape playing, because he is the only 13 in the team, is quite high. But then again, we've seen it before. The All Blacks, they like to swap and chop and change your 12 and 13s. We've seen Fekitoa in both positions. Sonny Bill has been thrown all over the place as well. So it wouldn't surprise me with Crotty having that injury. After I named my squad, he got injured in that match against the Highlanders. That he won't be playing. Obviously, he might miss the first test. I don't know how long exactly he's out for. But the fact is, a lot of pressure is coming down on Anton Leonard-Brown and Sonny Bill Williams to perform and to make sure that Laumape performs as well. So big pressure on the midfield, an area where I don't think we're the strongest anyway. Good depth, but no superstars. There's no Smith and Nonu here at all. And there's really no massive established superstar. Sonny Bill Williams, I was really pleased with how he played against the Lions in the Blues game, but is he going to be at that level for this whole tour? He is a big game player, so I expect he will be travelling pretty well come test match number 1. So I have trust in Sonny Bill and Crotty, Leonard-Brown very much so as well, but I think Fekitoa is going to be on speed dial for Steve Hansen in the coming weeks. What I am happy about, however, in the midfield positions is the fact that they haven't gone for George Moala. Now, he is a good player at Super Rugby level, but I just don't rate him as an international player. On the other hand, I do feel sorry for Seta Tamani Valu. I think he's been a good player, and he's had a good season as well with the Crusaders, but I just think the fact that the Crusaders have mainly played him on the wing due to the fact that Crotty and Goodhue have been playing so well, it's kind of damaged his chances of being an All Black centre again. So where does he fit in? He's not going to be an All Black winger. Is this time at the Crusaders becoming damaging for Seta Tamani Valu, which is kind of a shame. I thought he was a good prospect for the future as well. But they are the centres in the squad. Only one position left. Of course, it is the outside backs, fullbacks, and wingers. Now, for this, I picked 6 names to be called up for the All Blacks. Now, the All Blacks, on the other hand, have gone for also 6 names, but this is probably the biggest difference point in the whole squad. So the ones we match on, Jordie Barrett. Yay, called it. I called it. Jordie Barrett is in the team. So no-brainer really, not in the under-20s. He's got to be called up as well. But another man who I didn't think would get called up, but also was left out of the under-20s, was Rieko Ioane. Now, I did talk about him a little bit, about being an option that I don't think they'll go with. Well, blow me down. They have gone, indeed, with Rieko Ioane. So, Jordie Barrett and Rieko Ioane, 2 really, really good youngsters. Rieko Ioane absolutely done Jack Noel all night long. Easily, simply, he completely outplayed him and really did his chances of making the first test squad a big piece of damage as well. So they're going with Barrett, they're going with Rieko Ioane, and then the others are the no-brainers. Israel Dag, Waisaki Naholo, Julian Savia, and of course Ben Smith. So a couple of differences from my squad, seeing no McKenzie, but instead Rieko Ioane. Interesting, but I think those 3 guys, Ioane, McKenzie, and Barrett, are the future back 3 for the All Blacks in one position or another. Does McKenzie make the switch to 10? Does Barrett come on at 15 at any time? And Rieko Ioane, we know he can do a lot of damage. He's fast, he's explosive, and he can beat players on the outside. He is a real danger, and he's got to be another future player for the All Blacks, which I'm glad to see. Rieko Ioane and Jordie Barrett in the team. I don't mind if they don't play, because you got Ben Smith, and of course the wings can be Savia, Naholo, and or Dag. 3 guys that can play on the wings, cover fullback as well. We don't need Barrett or Ioane to play, but we need to get them in that atmosphere, get used to that All Black atmosphere, to know what is going on, to learn the styles, to learn the plays, because those guys are the future. So I'm really happy to see them in the squad for this upcoming tour from the Lions. Now, overall, what did I get wrong? One in the props. We got a couple in the back row. No, just one in the back row. No Todd. We got Pulu and Cruden wrong. So there's another couple. So that's 4. Fekitoa out. And, of course, Laumape in. That's 5. And Mackenzie out for Ioane. That's 6. So 6 players out of 33 that I got wrong. So that gives me 27 out of 33 right. I'm pretty happy with that. If you take out the no-brainers, so the Pulu and Carballo and Cruden into the squad, giving us 3 fly halves, which really that was expected to happen. The squad would have been even closer as well. I'm surprised they did go with Tuangafasi instead of Laulala. That was a big one. And of course, no Todd in the team. If I thought about it a bit more, you guys really were right on that one. But the biggest shock of all, no Fekitoa, Laumape in. You guys are all right. Laumape's in the team. But tell me now, will he play? Will he get on the field in test number 1 or test number 2? Because things are still on the line in test number 2 regardless of the winner. So that's what I really am interested to see, is what the starting 15 will be in that team. Obviously no Crotty as well, whether he's going to be fit or when he's going to be fit, but that obviously leaves the team pretty self-explanatory, with Franks and Moody being your props. Coles will be your hooker, Taylor if he's not fit as well, Whitelock, Retallick. There are no-brainers in your starting 15 there. Your 6, 7, 8, Kaino, Kane and Reed. Easy. Aaron Smith, no question my starting scrum half. Perenara is good, but no one is on the level of Aaron Smith when he's on form. Aaron Smith, I think, is one of the most influential and important players when he's on his best touch, which he's getting there. He's getting there, and the black jersey is just going to accelerate that progress. Bowden Barrett will start at 10 for you. Your wings, I think, will be Savia, and Dag will come close. And if things do go awry, I think Dag is the ultimate man to really put a little bit of that stability in for the erraticness that a Naholo can possibly be in that team. Of course, Ben Smith will be your fullback. There's no doubt about that for the All Blacks. So, really, the only thing that is contentious is the centres. For me, personally, I would go Crotty not in the team. So, if that, I would go for Williams and Leonard Brown. Both inside centres, mix them up, make it work, put one at outside centre, and go from there. Is it Williams or is it Anton Leonard-Brown? Probably I'll put Anton Leonard-Brown there and give him that link-up play that he's good as. I don't think Sonny Bill would work there too well because he doesn't have that same space around him that he can get the offloads free and create it for guys outside him. He needs to be a little bit wider, a little bit further away from the breakdown or the set piece to create that 2-on-1 tackles that actually create the space in behind. Anton Leonard-Brown, he's a man who needs to just keep on doing what he's been doing over the last 2 seasons, keeping it simple, doing his job, making his tackles, taking the ball up, passing to his outside men, allowing them to create, taking gaps. He's good at that, and he'll continue to do that as well. I'm not picking Laumape for a starter in this first test, but if the All Blacks really do rate him that well, then he could be in there starting in the midfield, which would be really, really interesting to see if he does get on, how he performs. Now, don't get me wrong here, I'm not a hater of Laumape at all. I think he's been great this season, and it's good to see him rewarded for his form, but it's just the pressure of a first test against the Lions is massive. It's almost like starting your All Black career in a World Cup semi-final. That's how big this really is against a team like the Lions that we really just have to beat. We've lost to the Blues, and it is a must win for this first test for the All Blacks. We have plenty more to talk about as the teams are named as well before the first test. Of course, we'll be having a look at the first match against Samoa as well, so you can stay tuned for that. But that is a quick look comparing. I think I did pretty well. I'm fairly pleased with the team on paper. It looks quite good. We'll see how they perform come test time. But until then, thanks for tuning in and watching. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a thumbs up if you have, of course, and I'll see you all next time. But until then, take care.